Hello and welcome back. In this video, we are going to make our structure grids and we're going to display those here in the map, and we're also going to take a look at them in a 3D display as well as a 2D display so we can QC our structure. Okay, so to get started, we are going to right click on our welcome project and we're going to say new flow, and we're going to call this structure grid. Hit OK. And what we need to do is, first of all, we need to bring our tops data into the flow, and we do this with a points input because tops are essentially tabular spreadsheet-like data. So we're going to choose these welcome project tops. Okay, now we need to put our tops into TVD space, so we're going to use the tops to TVD tool to do that. Here we will select our welcome project well header database, and we have this optional checkbox here for our deviations. So what we'll do here is we will select the process deviations that we previously used. This way, if we have tops picked in deviated wells, they'll be put in the correct XYZ space. Okay, now that we've done that, we are going to use tops to structure grid. And here we need to tell it to use the XY, and we will select X and Y as the column names. We will leave the rest of the options the same in terms of our gridding method and the proximity. One thing we will do here is we will make our, we could consider making our grid higher resolution. So I'm going to use a cell count per side of 512, make this slightly higher resolution. And then we are going to write our grid out with a grid output. Now I want to highlight a couple of things here. When we did the points input, we pointed it at our tops database. We then went straight into a tops to TVD, and then tops to structure grid, and then finally a grid output. Now at nowhere here did we tell it what tops that we would like to use. So if you have tops in your database that you don't want to use, we may want to exclude those. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What we'll do is we'll add a point select, and then we will drag that point select up to be behind our points input, and we're going to filter by formation, and we're going to look at the tops that we have in here. And there are two tops here that I had added when I was working through some of the previous welcome projects video. So I'm going to add here the so I have two choices. I can either select the ones I want to keep or select the ones that I want to remove. I want to remove the lower Parkman and the L200 that I have made. And because these are the ones I want to remove, I'm going to click invert, which says keep everything that's not in this list. Otherwise, I could just choose what's in the list. Okay, once I have selected that, I can hit the run button here, and this will generate our structure grids. Typically for an area this size, this gridding process will take less than 1 to 2 minutes. Even with several hundred wells, this process should be relatively quick. And as we can see here, it has already finished, and we have our structure grid. So I'm just going to click on this, and what I see is relatively smooth looking grid here for the Lewis, Teapot, Parkman, Sussex, Shannon, Niobrara. So it's made the structure grid for all of our formations here. Okay, so I'm going to close those. And now I'm going to add this structure grid to our map. So we'll just click plus, and we will choose property. And then we can choose the structure grid and the formation. I'm going to display the Niobrara formation here. I'll give this a slightly more exciting color palette and click add. Okay, and what we can see here is in the kind of the middle of this area, this is where we actually have well logs. This is where our structure map has been generated. Now, we want to see how this structure map looks both in a 2D projection view and in a 3D view. So let's set that up now. What we'll do is we'll come here to the top right. We'll click on the 3 horizontal bars, and we'll say split window. And then we'll repeat that. We'll click on the bars again, and now we'll say Add Tab, and we're going to add a 3D view. So this adds a 3D view, shows all of our well headers here, and we'll then add our structure grid here. So we're going to add our structure. We're going to point it at the structure grid file, and now we're going to choose our tops and our headers again, and the formations that we would like to display. Now we could come through and add all of our formations. That'll be showing a lot of layers here. So let's just keep some of the major ones. We're going to show maybe the Lewis, the Parkman, the Niobrara, the Maori, and the Dakota here. And we can give those a color. Maybe I'll make the Lewis a reddish color, the Parkman a lighter red, the Niobrara a light green, the Maori a dark green, and maybe I'll make the Dakota brown here. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to click Add. And you'll notice that here it looks very thin. You'll notice that we have the grids that are under here. And what we need to do is we need to increase the vertical exaggeration. So we are going to come over here and give this a vertical exaggeration of 10. And now we can see how this is displayed. And you'll notice you can see some dots that are the same color as the surfaces on here. Those are our well tops. I'm going to turn off our well headers here for clarity. So now we can see a subset in here. And I'm going to add the well bores. So you can see where the well bores are here. So we will add new well bore. So we'll select our well headers, we'll select our process deviations, and we'll click Add. And now we can see, where we have penetrations here. And once again, I have more deviations than I have well headers picked, but I think this is a useful view for you in here. All right, so now the next step that I would like to take is I would like to inspect my structure in a 2D view. So once again, I'm going to come up here to the top right. I'm going to say Split Window. And I'm going to drag this window by clicking on the bar over to the bottom right. And I'm going to now click here and add a tab, and I'm going to add a projection view. Now you'll notice a whole bunch of stuff shows up on here. And what I want you to do is come up to the map and zoom out. And I want you to temporarily hide the township and the county boundaries shapefile. And you'll notice there's a box around our data. This box represents what's shown inside the projection view. And what I can do is I can click on the middle dot, and I can drag this down to be a narrower line. And now what it's going to do when I grab this box and I move it up through here, it's going to show what is in the box projected onto this 2D screen. So imagine this as if it was a TV, for example, that had depth to it. Anything that's in this box will be projected onto the line here that is shown at the front of this. We can also come here and grab the ends, and we can rotate these. And we can zoom in and out by left click and drag on the bar here. And what we can do is we can scroll through here and see what's going on. And one thing that we'll notice is that in some of these areas, the thickness between our Maori and the Muddy is actually going to 0 here in a few of these wells. So if we did not think that was the case, we might want to go in and evaluate some of our tops. But that is what we are seeing here. This gives you a nice way to come in and QC the results. Notice you can see all the tops here in the wells, and you could also come over here and turn off your well header database. That way you won't see the extra noise here from those headers. All right, so that is it for this video. In our next video, we are going to switch over to working with some of the well log data and getting that ready for the 3D modeling. See you then.